friends, happy Friday. It's Quenby, the Grateful Queen, here on YouTube. Welcome back for another Live at 5 Reseller Community Night. It is October 14th, 2022. I'm coming to you from Northern California. And how are you? What's happening for you over there? I see some friends starting to come in. Welcome in, friends. If you're new to this video, I usually just chat about my thumbnail and my title in the beginning to get us going. And then I always turn to the live chat to see what's happening for you in your reselling business and in your world, and whatever it is that you want to talk about, we'll be sure to dive in. So if you are in the comment section of the video or the chat, please be sure to give me kind of a reseller check-in. How is Q4 going for you? What's happening in your world of reselling? I've been talking the last few videos about all the change happening in the reseller community. The big buzz right now is Posh live sales. It was Whatnot live auctions. Now Posh live sales seem to be the hot topic. And I thought I'd share a little bit about my experience about having to kind of take a pause in my reselling business to reevaluate and check in about what I'm doing in my business right now, how it's going for me, what's working and what's not. And working can mean a lot of different things. Is it working in terms of you're making the money you need to make for the time that you're putting in your business? Is it working because it brings you a lot of joy and love and fun? Like YouTube is kind of a labor of love for me. And I put in the time knowing that it's not the most profitable thing I do, but I enjoy it so much. I took a week off from Whatnot. Whatnot is the kind of hot topic live auction selling platform that everybody's been you're either like super pro Whatnot or seem to be like, I'm done with Whatnot. It seems to be this kind of divide that I've noticed. Hi, Barbara and Rhonda and Alana and Jessica. I see friends coming in. I'm going to come to the chat in a second. I'm just going to get us started with sort of sharing a little bit about my experience about needing to reevaluate. And I'm curious what you guys think about this. Have you been in a position in your business where you have to stop and say, okay, what am I doing? Like, what's really working? What's not? So I took a week off from Whatnot. I've been on Whatnot for 3 months and I've been super pro crazy Whatnot, loving it. And that's still true. I still love the platform, but I needed to take a break because in true Quemby fashion, I get super excited about things and I dive in. Next thing you know, I'm doing 2 Whatnot live shows a week. And I'm still trying to do my YouTube, do my psychotherapy business, list on eBay and Poshmark and Etsy and all the crazy things. And in the beginning, Whatnot was super profitable for me, as it was for a lot of people. So it made sense. And that's changed a little bit. It's just not as profitable. So now I need to say, Quemby, you totally love doing this. What's the role of live auctions going to be in your business now? And I'm sort of evaluating and making sure I'm still on the right track with my business. I've been reselling for 10 years, friends, on eBay. That's always been my main kind of jam, my main platform. But there's a lot of changes happening right now in the world of reselling. And I need to know where I'm at with that. And I'm curious where you guys are at, because I do feel like we're definitely hearing so much more about live. I do think live is going to be kind of one of the ways of the future. I think there's going to be a lot of changes. Poshmark just got sold. I think we're going to see changes over time with that. So where are you guys at with that? Where are you at with your business now? And is what you're doing working for you? In what ways? And is there an area of your business where you're like, I might need to rethink this? Social media is often one for people. Cross-posting. Everyone's like, you've got to do cross-posting. Well, some people felt like they did better just on one platform. So you have to evaluate for yourself. Barbara's here saying howdy from North Carolina. And my friend Rhonda Creek, howdy from Texas. Yes, definitely let us know what state you're in. Remind people what your name is, not just your username. Tell a little bit about yourself in the chat, maybe how long you've been selling. What's going on for you guys right now? How are sales? Where are you at with all this live selling stuff? Alana is here from LV. And my friend Jessica, hola, happy Friday to you. I'm actually hoping I get to see Jessica tomorrow. I'm doing kind of a more spontaneous trip up to the bins in Sacramento. I've put out a lot of videos about that. I'll talk with you guys a little bit about that more in a minute after I say hi to everybody. My friend Raquel's here saying happy Friday, Quemby and friends. So good to see you. Hi, Julie Lopez. Welcome in. Keely made it to the live. You keep saying I got to make it back to those lives. So it's good to see you. Welcome, welcome. And it's Deborah, my friend. Hi, Quimby. I finally made a live. Deborah was here every single week for a long time. And then she got busy with a lot of other things in life and in business. And curious how the live selling is going for you, Deborah, because Deborah was doing live selling here on YouTube. And it was really a thing for her. And then I saw her over on Whatnot. Are you going to do Posh? And where are you at with those things? Hi, Babette. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, I just did my eBay sales comparison to last year. Year to date, I'm up 87%. I did not even realize. Still part-time, 5 listings a day. I'm stunned. 87%? That's like phenomenal. Wow. I remember when you were just kind of getting started over there. That's incredible. Are you doing 5 listings a day, 7 days a week, or 5 days a week, or what? Before Whatnot happened, I've shared with you guys that I was really doing the eBay thing and trying to get consistent. It's still my belief that the more consistently, regularly you list over there, the better your sales are. That's been my lived experience, and everybody seems to say the same thing. I know some people say you don't have to list every day, but I think if you want the most consistent sales, you need to list the most consistently. And I had got up to 5. No, I was doing 5 a day very consistently. I was moving up to like 6 or 7, and I had a 32% increase, and I was really rolling with it. And then I got a little sidetracked with Whatnot. Hey, babes. That's my Petey here. Happy Friday. I'll see you in a little bit. Hey, Kelwell. Hi from Nova Scotia, Canada. Welcome in. We've got people from all over. Hi, Andrea. Hi, friends. I just started back on eBay after many weeks break. I'd be curious if you pay attention, Andrea, to how long does it take you after a break on eBay? How long does it take you to get things rolling again? Some people say like 7 days, like if you're listing super consistently. eBay is one of those things. eBay does not like it when you take breaks. Like eBay's algorithm likes super consistency. And I know like when I've gone on vacation and I'm like, I'm on a true vacation. I'm not listing. I'm not shipping. I'm gone for 2 weeks to Boston or something to see my family. It usually takes me about a week of consistently listing and shipping and sending offers before I get back to like my rhythm on eBay. I've been selling on eBay almost 11 years, guys. All right, let me say hi to everyone. There's so much good content tonight. I'm going to read all these comments. If there's something you want to talk about, please, if you have any questions, concerns, topics, put it in the chat and I will try to get to it. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl, thank God you put Tangerine Door. Great picture of you. Kim's here. Cordy Plop. I love another Q. Hello from Monument, Colorado. My sales have been up lately. Wondering if that's the algorithm change. Don't have the courage to try the live sales yet. Kim. Are you just on Posh? My sales are up on eBay again. I've been really trying to get back into the listing. I'm not selling live on Posh yet because it's, as far as I know, it's still by invitation only. And I have not got an invitation. So I have heard that some people are thinking Posh might be a better place for live sales because Posh already has the customer base and the shoppers. It's still so early. What is it, like 3 weeks now? Are we 3 weeks into Posh? And I'm telling you, I was going on there and there'd be like maybe 5 shows at a time. So it's very early days over there. I know they're working out some kinks, but I'll be curious to see how it goes. Oh, you are on Posh and eBay. Okay. I haven't noticed anything with them switching. If you're not sure what she's talking about, I did some videos a little while back. Was that back in, when was that? March? When they were doing experiments and changing the algorithm and changing how they do search over on Poshmark. And a lot of people that had consistent sales saw a major drop off in sales. So they announced somewhat recently, they're going back to, after their research, they're going back to the tried and true, the way they've been doing search. And a lot of people said, oh, I've noticed an increase in sales. I haven't noticed that just because I don't sell. I don't think I sell enough on Posh. I think I had 2 sales today, 2 sales yesterday. That's kind of normal for me. But I do notice, and I do notice an increase on eBay sales already just from listing more consistently. All right, now let's go up and read some of these good comments and see what is on your mind. Babette, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. You're doing so great with the eBay. That's amazing. If you're afraid to try eBay, do not be afraid. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but then once you get it, you have access to many, many more buyers looking at your items. And most people, I don't know that I've ever met anyone that has said they do better on Posh than on eBay if they're on both. I think everyone I've ever talked to ultimately does better on eBay in terms of making more sales and more money than they do on Posh. There probably is an exception to that. Alana said delisting and relisting has really helped me in the last few weeks. I love delisting and relisting. I use Vendu. I'll just, like, if I ever have any extra time, I'll just go in there and delete, maybe edit things up a little bit, relist. And I've seen a lot of old, like, stale listings sell that way. Deborah from Chile, Chicago area. I sell eBay, Etsy, some Amazon, YouTube, whatnot, shop thrilling, Thredup, and the real. Wow. You're everywhere. What do you guys think about this kind of debate about cross-posting? There's a very popular, prominent reseller who does a lot of social media content. And I was on their channel the other day and they were saying, do not cross-post. Do not. Why would you spread yourself unless you're totally nailing that platform and you've, like, hit your ceiling? Why would you waste the time and energy to cross-post? And that's not a popular opinion. Most people say, if you're going to list it on eBay, why not cross-post it and also list the very same item on Etsy, Poshmark, on these other marketplaces, because then more people see your item. I guess I could see the wisdom in both, and ultimately you have to do what works for you. But I'm curious what you all think. I just listed solely on eBay for so many years. I'm glad I got on Posh. I feel like it's a different, so I have like a different customer on Posh. And the reason I hang on to Posh, even though as a very part-timer, I'd probably do better just on eBay or just on whatnot or something, because I am spread way too thin. I totally own that. I do it to myself. But Posh, I tend to sell things like I have my bigger sales, a lot more like $40, $50 sales, or really special designery items where people just pay more. But Bet's doing, I would say, 5 listings about 5 days a week. I think I'm just getting better at sourcing what sells. That's amazing. Is that trial and error, or are you doing research? Andrea said, whatnot is so hard for me. I'm just too boring. You are not too boring. I popped into Andrea's show. I love it when you guys send me a link. And if I get the link in time and I can pop over, I would love to come over and say hi. I don't think anyone's too boring. I mean, I guess there are things that help selling live. I think it helps selling live if you already have a decent social media following and your people are going to come over. That helps. I think it helps if you have, like, maybe a certain type of outgoing personality and you can keep things moving, maybe a little more upbeat. Although I love some of the mellow shows because I am upbeat like that. And I need some time. I love the kind of mellow shows when people are just so calm. I'm like, that's amazing. I like those shows too. I think it's harder. I think it's totally doable to do whatnot or live auction selling anywhere without showing your face. I mean, the jewelry people have done that. But I think it's a little bit harder for people to connect to you. I at least like it when people show their face sometimes. God, I could just do a full 3-hour live with you guys about live selling. There's just so much. There's so much that goes into it, and about, like, what's going on with whatnot and what's going to happen with Posh and all that. I mean, it's a huge topic with a lot of variables. Janice said, yes, I agree. I try to list regularly on Posh. It definitely helps my sales. Yeah, I think most people would agree. Hey, Barbara. All the Babettes and Barbaras, welcome in. She's saying hi to everybody. What else is going on? Let's see what you guys have to say. Alana said, I wasn't invited. I just applied and got in. I don't even know where you got the application and stuff. I was under the impression, and I haven't done a ton of research. I'm sorry, I'm having a super hard time like getting my chair and situation right. I was running a little late. I just plopped it up, and so I'm moving around a lot. Think I might have figured it out. I don't even know where that application came from. I was under the impression for Posh Live Sales that they like had cherry picked some people and said, hey, this is in beta. We're just testing it out. Come on over. And of course, it was some people with a large social media following. And then I think it was people who had gone to prior Posh Fest events, got priority there. I've gone over to a few shows. It looks almost identical to Whatnot. People are saying that they're able to charge a little bit more Whatnot because it's mostly resellers selling to resellers at this stage. Everyone's looking for a super good deal, and most of us are just selling things really cheap over there. Barbara says, I have no interest in doing live sales. I love that. I just love that it's so like that you just know. A lot of people are like, hey, I got to check this out. I have to figure this out. Should I try it? They're just more on the fence, but it's probably a lot easier if you just know for yourself, like not interested. Do you think it's going to go that way, Barbara? Do you think if we're looking a couple years down the road that live sales will be a huge part of how people are shopping? Or do you think it's just like a fad? Or do you think there's going to be both? I was talking to Petey, who's just a regular non-reseller person, and he's like, I can't imagine that I would go on a live sale and buy something. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Kelly. He's like, well, that I can't imagine shopping like that. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I was asking him some questions, and I'm like, well, one, you're a guy and you're not super into clothes. So I think it is different. And I'm just generalizing here. I know there are exceptions and all that. Many women like to go on and they just love seeing the stuff, and they might buy for themselves, for their sister, for their boyfriend. We like looking at the clothes, a lot of us. And so I think it's kind of an enjoyable way to shop. Now, if I'm specifically looking for something like a Lululemon skirt, I'm not going to sit through all the shows and hope someone has one. I'm going to go onto a platform. I'm going to go to Lululemon and buy it. But I do think it made me think, well, more specific shows would work best for live for people that are not resellers and not just shoppers. But like if you did a show that was all Lululemon or all a certain style or all a certain size or the activewear or something like that, it might appeal to the more general shopper as well. Hi, Margaret Curtis. Welcome in. Good to see you. Melissa says, Quemby, I make most of my income on Poshmark, not eBay. Well, that's good to know. That is good to know. I know there's some exceptions to that. I think it's more rare to make more income on Poshmark than eBay if you're doing both kind of equally. I'm not talking about somebody that goes over to eBay to list something like some electronics that they wouldn't put on Posh. But if you're like putting time into listing on both, it's rare for me to hear that someone does better on Poshmark. Alana says, I prefer mellow shows. Hi, Kelly Schaffner. I was just on your channel. What video was I watching? Oh, the $50 flips video. That was interesting. Deborah says, my main income is from live jewelry sales on YouTube. Yeah, it seemed like I first heard about these live auctions from YouTube. It was like, oh, people are selling live on YouTube. And it was mostly, from what I see, there's like two categories. There's people selling vintage, like a lot of the people that have big YouTube channels that sell vintage hard goods and vintage stuff. That community seems to do a lot of live on YouTube auctions. And then the jewelry people, I don't see a lot of people, do you guys, that are selling clothing or stuff like that doing live on YouTube? I was thinking about it because I love live. Hi, Mo. Hi, Maudie. I've been doing this YouTube live for 2 years now at least. And I like being live. And I was interested in sales, but I talked to people like Leslie at a Reseller's Passion, who's done a lot of, the other place I've seen live auctions is on Instagram. People started doing them on Instagram. So that's where I first started seeing it. And then these platforms are now popping up just doing all live auctions. But Do you think it wouldn't work as well? Like, why aren't more clothing people doing it the way jewelry people are doing it? Leslie just said when she was doing them on Instagram, there's so much work. And now I get it. I think it's probably even harder to do them on Instagram because then you have to invoice and get the labels, whatnot, and Posh take care of all that for you. But do you think it's a lot of work, Deborah? Babette says, if I had to choose, eBay would be it. But I like Posh, so I hang on to it. I just list both places without cross-listing software. Without cross-listing software? OMG, that's so time-consuming. I use Vendu, and it's like $20 or $24.99 a month, which is so cheap. And I figure, okay, that's a month to get whatever items I want over to Posh. And it takes me about 1 minute or less. Because I did a video on this a while back. How long does it take me? If I already build the listing in eBay, then I use Vendu to import it over. And then I cross-post it. It's like 30 seconds or something. It's so fast because all your listing information is already in there. And if it's only like $25 a month, I mean, I think I figured out I make about $700 a month as a part-timer on Poshmark, which is like 40% of what I make on eBay approximately. But I don't know that I'd want to do it manually. How long does that take you? Hi, James. I have a link for 25% off Vendu in my description section, and I've got at least one, maybe 2 or 3 videos on Vendu if you want to check it out. There's other cross-posting, but that's the one I like. James, the Antique Boutique. Hi, y'all. I'm driving, so I can't chat. Welcome. Glad you are here. The Lazy Reseller says, I think it's a fad because it's a lot of work on the seller's part and scarier on the buyer's part, especially for more expensive items. So she's talking about our live auctions like we're seeing with Whatnot and Poshmark. I think eBay's going down that road too. But I think they're testing it out with certain smaller, different markets first. She's saying she thinks it's a fad because it's a lot of work on the seller's part. I think for me, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work on my part, but it's not like it's less. It's not like it's more work than listing on eBay or Posh. It's just different work. I actually prefer the work of like setting up the show and putting it on my rack and doing that whole and because it's active. The part I really struggle with as a reseller is the sitting and listing, because it's just sitting for an hour or two trying to get your listings up. And I don't do well with like sustained computer time. I'm someone who needs to be moving around a lot. So it is a lot of work. The live auctions are a lot of work. It's just different kind of work. I like it. I like it a lot. And if Whatnot was going the way it was for me in the beginning, I'd probably be doing a lot more of that. But it seems like until they get more buyers on there, not just reseller buyers, but buyers, I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm going to try to do at least one show a week. I think I'm going to do a $2 show on Monday, and just have all starts at $2. I love it so much. I want to keep my foot in the door over there. Hi, Michelle CD. Hi, Quemby. Just saw you pop up. It is a lot of work. It's just different work. It's like you're either doing the work to list on eBay Posh or to set up a YouTube live sale or to set up, it's all work. It's just which kind of work do you like better? Mo says, the algorithm changed and my sales went up by a lot. I'm happy I found an Yves Saint Laurent blazer set. Oh, I bet that means blazer set. Here she said, blazer set, sent it to the RealReal and made $400. So happy. Wow. Wow. That's so dreamy. I've not had that experience. I still have not got on the RealReal. There's just so many things. This is why I think evaluating is so important every once in a while, because it's easy to just start doing something like selling on Thredup or selling on Whatnot or whatever. And then you just kind of chug along, you start doing it. But do you ever stop and say, let me take a look at this. Let me take a look at my data, at my numbers. Let me see how my processes are going. Let me see, does this make sense for me? Am I enjoying it? Does the amount of time I put in make sense given how much I'm making? Sometimes we just are doing what we're doing and we're not really paying attention and evaluating. So that's what I'm trying to kind of do right now, like what makes the most sense for me at this time in my business. And it's not going to be the same as anybody else because we all have a totally different set of circumstances we're working with. We all have different ways we get inventory and we pay different amounts for inventory. We have different amounts of time to put into it. And there are so many things you can do. You can consign with Thredup. You can consign with the RealReal. You can sell vintage on Etsy. You can sell digital documents on Etsy. You can decide you want to learn Amazon. It's just so endless. I've always loved and appreciated that about the reselling space. But I do think it can also be like, bing, 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 there's so many things to do. Should I just focus on one platform or one thing, or should I diversify? There's so many choices. Sales Formula says, live sales are here to stay are my beliefs. Whatnots really started with men buying trading cards and banger tees. Yeah, that's how it started. And I think, I think the thrifted clothing category is figuring itself out. There's a lot that needs to change over there. There's a lot of things that are great. Janice says, I don't mind mellow whatnot shows as long as they keep the audience engaged. I've watched some shows where they walk away or there's too much silence and nothing to keep the audience's interest. Yeah, I've seen all kinds of shows. I mean, but I've said this before. It's like, just all you can do is go on there and be yourself and do your thing the way you want to do it, because you'll find your people. If you just keep showing up and doing your shows, you're going to find the people that love the mellow shows, that love that you play classical music, that love that you're just kind of chill, or that love that you go really, really fast and you don't do any chatter at all. You just show the item. Or you come to my show and it's like, I'm going to do chatter, 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 and then maybe show a few items. Like you have to just, you can't force yourself to be anybody you're not. You can't force yourself. I mean, should you step out of your comfort zone? Sure. We all need to do that to grow and to see if things are work for us, but you can't completely change your personality. You can't be a mellow person and decide to just be like Tigger. You have to kind of be who you are and see if it works for you and find the people. So, I've been in some shows where, if I'm honest, I'm like, oh my God, this show is so not working for me. Why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do this? And then other people are there hanging out and they're totally fine with it. I was in this one show recently on Whatnot and I'm like, hey, Cynthia. Ooh, 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 ooh. My friend Cynthia, I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, Sarah Lee. My God, I haven't seen you in a bit. Hi, Quemby. Happy to see you. Haven't seen you for quite a while. I know where you've been. I was in this one show, and I never want to put anybody down. I'm just talking about how there's different preferences. And I didn't understand what's happening. I could see her rack, and I could see a bunch of people in the chat chatting. And I'm like, well, what's happening? Are we selling stuff? There was stuff in the store. And they're like, oh, she's over there making some boxes or packages. And it just went on like that. And I stayed for a while because I was so intrigued. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, is this... I do not know. I think it was like she'd come on if she felt like it and do some stuff. But if she was just hanging out, she was going to package up items and we were going to sit there, but you couldn't even see her. And the chat was just, there was maybe like 15 people in there, 10 or 15, and they're all chatting. And I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening here. Cynthia says, sorry, I'm late. I was thrifting. That's the best excuse ever to be late. Deborah said, I just sent in my last 52 items to the RealReal. For a while there, Deborah, you were doing those Thredup rescue boxes, like the higher end ones. Are you still doing that? But Beth said, I tried cross-listing, but I'm faster using my phone at night on the couch. I don't use my computer. I tried cross-listing, but I'm faster using my phone at night on the couch. I'm trying to think of how do you cross-post? You mean you just build a whole complete other listing? You use the same photos and you go over to Posh and just build a whole new listing. I just can't even understand that. Sales from Melissa said, I have not listed on any of my platforms for several months. I'm selling what I have, but down to 8 to 9 on eBay, and then maybe 100 left on Posh. Wow. So you're just using Whatnot Live to sell through all your inventory. You're just going to go through all your inventory and put it on Whatnot. I thought that in the beginning. I thought that's what I'm going to do. Because I was doing really well on Whatnot, and I thought, well, I could do this for a while because it's so immediate. I'll put my 35 items up. I'll sell 30 to 35 items. I'll get another show together. And I was like, I thought that was maybe going to be the way I was going to go. I have 1,000 items listed on eBay, and they're not all on Posh. Maybe I have 500 on Posh. I haven't put them all over there. But then it just wasn't like the shows. I wasn't selling as much. And I think that's kind of a popular thing. That's sort of a common theme I'm hearing with resellers now, that in the beginning you do really well, your friends all come, there's a lot of support. And then unless you're one of the bigger influencers or you've got some major niche, not everybody is doing as well as they were in the beginning. I'm not giving up because I really like it. I'm going to keep doing it. But I thought maybe I'd just sell through everything. But now I don't know if that's possible. Let me see if I missed anything up here. I prefer mellow shows. Just checking in to make sure I'm not missing anything I wanted to say anything about. I appreciate how you guys can all chime in your opinions. It's super respectful. Everyone has kind of a different take on how these things are going to go. Thank you for those thumbs ups and hearts, Cynthia. Yeah, I am going to go to Sacramento tomorrow. I didn't put it out there as like a big meetup or anything because I was just there 6 weeks ago or something like that. So figure I'll do that, put it out to the community and do a meetup twice a year or something like that, or every 3 or 4 months. But I'm just going back up to see Cynthia, hopefully Jessica, if it works out, and do some shopping. Anyone's welcome to join, but I didn't put it out there or anything. I have not done that reel. I thought I was maybe going to do it. Where's Leslie? I didn't see her come in. Let's see. Oh, hi, Alba. Hi, all. Happy Friday. Steph sells stuff by the seashore. That's fun to say. Steph sells stuff by the seashore. If you're at home, make sure you're saying it. Hello there. First time catching you live. What a pleasure. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about you, Steph. Where do you sell? How long have you been selling? Hey, Veronica. Wait, where did that comment go? Hi, Quimby and friends in the chat. Hi, Veronica. Good to see you. God, we've got some friends I haven't seen in a little while who are back. Alana said the real only pays 20%. So not worth it unless it's really high priced. Yeah, I don't know. I have not sold on the real. I did do a little bit of research about it a while back. And I do think there's different tiers. I think maybe if you are a beginner with them, you don't earn as much. I think you build up to earning more. And I think it depends on the item and the price tier, what your commission is. Like certain brands, the real will pay you higher than 20%, and some might be less. So I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. That's one of my initial thoughts, though, about the idea of selling on Poshmark Live instead of Whatnot Live. If I remember right, Whatnot Live, the fees are really low. I think it's 5% and then one of those PayPal fees, 30 cents and 3% or something. The fees are really low, which I appreciate. Poshmark fees are still 20% for the lives. So initially some people are saying, hey, I just started Posh Lives and I'm charging a little bit more. It's not like Whatnot where I'm selling things for $3 or $5. I'm selling things for 10 or 15 or something. But then you're getting a 20% fee out of that. Poshmark has the highest fees of any platform that I'm aware of. It's not my favorite thing. I kind of get why. Hi, Dawn. I kind of get why. I mean, Poshmark has a very different return policy. The customer service at Poshmark has been really great. So sometimes I'm like, it's 20%, but it's way easier over there. So, okay. But that's so high, 20%. Raquel said, I wish I could go to Sacramento tomorrow, but I've just got too much going on with the family. I know. I didn't expect anyone to go again. Jessica has a lot going on. It's like a super busy day with her. So I'm not even 100% sure if we'll get to see her. So that's okay. I mean, I know it was too soon. Like, I like to plan it way out so that everyone can put it on their calendars and make their arrangements. This was sort of like, I think we need to go again. And it was pretty soon. So that's on me. I just wanted to go up again, but it doesn't have to be a big meetup or anything. Let me see. Deborah says, I'm in the 60% sales window on the RealReal. I have sold a lot on there. Yep, it starts at 20% and goes up. It varies. That's what I remember. I know that people have been talking a lot about the RealReal. So I think they're having some issues with authentication stuff on some of their higher end stuff. I feel like in different videos, I've been hearing more about that, certain items are pretty risky to resell, like some of the very high end designer brands. And there are some issues around authenticity. And I think it's Gucci or something like that. And I have not done the research on this myself. I was listening to another YouTuber talk about this, and it sounded like legitimate information, but they do your own research. I think they're having some issues around some brands, higher end brands, do not want the RealReal reselling their stuff because they can't guarantee that it's authentic. Sarah Lee said, I have found some great stuff on the RealReal to purchase. I've never bought anything on there. For yourself or for selling? Oh, a new Dawn. Hi, Dawn. Yes, different tiers. I'm up to, and I got to go down here a couple comments. I'm up to 60% as well. So I guess if you have access to some of the higher end brands, or you find really good stuff that you think would be, that the RealReal would do better selling it than you would, like on eBay, or if you're worried about authenticity and you want to use the RealReal because they're going to authenticate it for you, it might be worth starting. And you realize you start, it sounds like, at a lower commission, but the more experience they have with you, the higher amount that you can make. Alana said, I feel like mine are going down on the RealReal. I was doing okay, and now I've been getting payouts of less than $5. Yikes. Deborah said, so far I have never had a non-authentic item that I've sent into them. That's good. Sales for Moolah said, Quemby, I've only done maybe 5 shows on Whatnot, not my inventory so much from my platforms, but items I have not posted from the wholesale and other thrifts. Okay, I'm changing my business cost of goods to the platform. I see. Okay. A new Dawn says, I think Chanel was a big one that didn't want others selling it. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I knew it was one of those brands that are like, hey, how can you authentic? They don't want it being sold, because what if someone buys it and they're like, hey, I bought the Chanel bag or something on the RealReal, and it isn't up to the quality that Chanel thinks that it might be, of their own stuff, that it could be really problematic for them. I think that's what they're afraid of. I think some of these brands too, you guys, are really hard to authenticate because the fakes have gotten so good. Just in case you don't know, it's illegal to sell a fake on eBay or these other platforms. Thredup, you're not supposed to. Thredup has sent me some of the stuff, and I just don't deal with it. Like in a rescue box, I'm like, no, this is not Moschino. This is so fake. You're not supposed to sell that stuff. And from what I understand, the fakes have gotten so good that it's really more challenging to authenticate. I've gotten duped. I once bought this Hermes wallet, I don't know what I was thinking. This was a few years ago. It was in the special case at Goodwill, and it was so gorgeous. The leather on it, it was like buttery soft, all the stitching lined up, all the stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to take a chance on this and buy this because I just couldn't tell. Now I'm like, what would an Hermes be doing at Goodwill? But you never know. And so I did a bunch of research because I was going to send it off to get authenticated. And there's a lot of good research online where you can just start authenticating yourself. Usually you can rule it out yourself, so you don't have to pay to have it authenticated. But then I realized, yeah, mine's fake. And they charge more to authenticate the brand Hermes because the fakes have gotten so good. They're such good quality. Oh, Deborah will be in the 70% tier on the Real. So it sounds like if you're going to go the Real, you might want to start building a relationship with them and start, because the more experienced you are, the more money you can make, it sounds like. Rhonda said, interesting, because I received a Chanel sweater in a Thredup rescue box and sent it back in, and it sold. I was concerned about trying to sell it myself, and I had no idea if it was authentic. You sent, I see. You got a rescue box. You got a Chanel sweater in there. You weren't entirely sure. So you send it back to Thredup. They listed it on their site and someone bought it and you got your payout. That's kind of smart. So then you don't have to worry about it. It's on Thredup, because Thredup's not supposed to sell anything that's not authentic either. They're not even supposed to put it in the rescue boxes, but they do. James says the Real pricing can be off. They sold a pair of Jonathan Hake's Mojito heels I sent for $100. I'm 60% too, but at that price point, I think I got $40. The comps are consistently $300 on Posh. Yep, I guess that's like, you take a risk like that if you're sending it to them. The other thing that I've not sold on the Real, but I was doing research to see, should I sell on the Real? And that was kind of one of the complaints people had was, that the pricing can be really, really off, and then they've got your item and they're going to sell it for you. And the other thing is that I think they do a lot of like 20% off coupons, and they have some system where they mark things down, and it can get down pretty low where you're getting $40 for something you could have got $300. But let me say this is the important part. When you send something to Thredup or the Real or whatever, part of it is you're not doing the work. Like, that's why Thredup has worked for me for things I don't want to deal with, because I might only make $1.50 on something or $5, but I'm not doing the work. I am not steaming it. I'm not photographing it. I'm not measuring it. I'm not doing customer service, and I'm not shipping it out. So I only deserve to make a few dollars on it. That's how I think of it for myself. Like, you're taking a serious hit on your payout. But if you want to make $50 for that item, list it yourself. If I want to make that money myself, I should do the work myself. If I'm sending it to Thredup, I'm not going to make money because they're doing all the work, and that's a lot of work. So that's the way I think of it. I think of it with that way with Whatnot a bit too. Like, I can't list all this stuff I have. I've bought all this stuff because I'm super ambitious, and then I realize I'm only part-time, and I have a 10-year-old son, and I can't do all this. I have to move the inventory. And then I'm like, I only sold it for $5. If I listed this on eBay or Posh, I could probably get $35. But I'm not listing it on eBay or Posh. I'm holding it up and saying, do you want it? And I'm shipping it off. I'm not building the listing. I am not folding it up and putting it in inventory. I'm not shipping it off. I'm not dealing with returns. So that's why I'm only making $5 instead of $35. So you really have to do like a reframe in your mind, I think, It sucks. Sometimes on Thredup, I'm like, oh, Quemby, you should have listed that yourself. You would have got so much more money. But I didn't. I chose to send it in there. And that's what I'm trying to do around Whatnot. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I could have sold it for so much more. But then I'd have to do all that work, and I cannot do all the work. I cannot list all the items that I have in my garage. I cannot. So I have to get rid of them somehow. It's either going to be Thredup or Whatnot. I could start the Real, but you know what I mean, you guys? Dawn says, totally true with Thredup. Love sending stuff there, but not able to get labels lately. Easy peasy to send them. I'll take $5. That's kind of where I'm at, but it depends what your situation is. If you don't have a lot of inventory sitting around, don't worry about it. Or if you have the time to list it all, do it. You're going to make way more money yourself. But I don't. And I keep boxing myself in where I'm like, I'm going to do all this stuff. And with the Thredup labels, it is like on and off. Like sometimes I'll go on there and I'm like, I can print labels. And then I go on there and they're saying, oh, we're not doing labels. You can only get a donation kit. It's like, I just have to catch it on the right day. But when I can get labels, I print out as many as they'll let me so that I have a little backlog. Sells for Moolah says, I didn't think Thredup was taking any more items for a while. Yeah, I have a couple labels. Deborah said, I have 2 boxes in line to be checked in at Thredup. It says it will be processed early November. I know, and sometimes they'll change that date. And they'll be like, yeah, it was going to be November. Now it's going to be January. I've always said this. I have some videos on selling to Thredup. It's the wild, wild west over there. Thredup does whatever Thredup wants to do. Everything changes all the time. Sometimes my box gets processed in a week. Sometimes it takes 4 months. Sometimes somebody cool goes through my box and they price things right. They make some good titles. I make a lot of money on the box. And sometimes people put one of my cocktail dresses in as a casual dress and they only list it for $20. And I'm like, what? You just never know what you're going to get over there. And I just have to be willing to do it or not do it. It's kind of like you have to let go of so much control, which is really hard. Castell's Posh Closet said, has anyone sold through Flip? I set up to boxes for them today and I'm waiting for approval and shipping a label. I have not. They messaged me a few times about YouTube, doing YouTube content with them, but I get to these places where like I can't do anything new. Like, you know, I finally learned how to do Thredup, and that was like my new thing, and that took me like months, and then I had that going, and then I had a little more space, and I learned to do Whatnot. That's what I worked on over the summer. So I think Flip's probably a pretty cool thing, but I just can't take on another thing. Has anyone else done it? Mo said no one can get labels anymore. I wonder if they're going to go under. No, I think they just get crazy. I think they just get crazy inundated and then they pause, they process everything. I mean, I've been on there like a year now. So I've seen this happen a bunch. But sometimes they'll let you print out like 5 labels. So I print them all out and then I just kind of stockpile it and wait. The lazy reseller said, I just went to Thredup and I can get a consign label. It totally depends. Have you sent stuff into them? I think if you're brand new, you can get one. Veronica said, I have some really old labels from Thredup I never used. I wonder if they'd still honor. I think I've never heard. They don't have an expiration date. Thredup. I could go on and on about Thredup. It's like they're the best thing and the worst thing both. You know, it's like when I needed to get rid of a lot of inventory, I'm so grateful that I can send them things like all my size extra small petite, all my career stuff I really don't want to list. It's not my thing. I don't want to store. I just box it up and send it off and let Thredup store it for 3 months until they process it. It totally depends. Some people can get labels, some people can't. So, all right, friends, I am going to wrap up because I want to wake up early and try and get to the bins. Well, it takes 2 hours for me to get to Sacramento. So realistically, even if we leave here at 8, which is, I don't know if I can get PD out the door at 8, won't be there till 10. So look forward to some bins content coming up soon because I'm going to go and I'll take some more video footage and I'll come back with some great hauls for you guys. So thanks for hanging out with me on Friday night. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.